Other tools, if you were to buy a battery repair kit, this is a battery pliers that you use to take the bolt loose. They're specifically designed for that. I'm not going to recommend it. That's just part of the case and what they're for. This particular tool, you have a battery that you've cleaned and cleaned and cleaned and cleaned. The cable keeps getting smaller and smaller. And then you buy a new battery. Now the battery cable doesn't fit. And so you need to expand it back out. This tool is designed to slip into that battery cable. And when you squeeze it, spreads it back out. So that you're not trying to grab the end of it. Because if you grab the end of it and pull on it, it goes like this. And when I stick it on, it just touches on the side. And you can actually damage the cable and not have very good continuity or connection there. So this is designed to go around, go in there and spread that battery cable back out so you can go on a new battery. Side terminals, they have special tools that you can reach down and take the battery cable off instead of a crescent wrench that always rounds it off and then you can't ever get it out. Or the little teeny wrench that if you actually pull the real wrench out, the wrench is only about this long and you're trying to break it loose. This thing here is the ratchet, reaches down in there and you can just take it off. And so if you have side post batteries, that makes your life kind of easy. A couple of bad things. Dropping a battery is obviously bad. Never want to drop it. Busting or arcing the terminals, which is from not doing one of those things above. Hooking a battery up backwards. Anybody ever hooked a battery up backwards? It's not a good experience if you ever do it. So be very careful. Because the rest of your machine, especially if you have electronic equipment, is not designed to be hooked up backwards and it burns out electronic equipment. So if it doesn't have electronic equipment, typically what happens is it'll actually arc. So if you put the terminal on and it arcs, think about it, there's probably something wrong, double check what you're doing there. And so if you actually get it on and tighten it down, it will drain that battery and it will ruin that battery. And so you don't want to do that. If your battery is completely discharged and you put the battery charger on and hook it up backwards, it will charge this battery in reverse. And positive and negative will reverse each other. It doesn't work very well and the battery will fail pretty quick. But you can actually charge the battery in reverse, but it has to be completely discharged before you can do that. Otherwise, when you hook your battery cables up for the jump battery charger, it'll arc as you're doing it. And you're like, that was weird. Hopefully you double checked what you're doing. Over tightening the hold downs, you're going to break it, overcharging it, charging it up really fast, discharging it, charging it back up really fast, discharging it, because you're trying to get this thing to start. You crank, 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 put it on boost, charge that battery up really fast, and then crank, 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 and then charge it up really fast, and then crank, 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 crank. That's really hard on a battery. You're severely overheating the battery internally, and it will cause those plates to warp, and it will severely shorten the life of your battery. So if you've got a problem and you can't get it started and you have to start going through this cycle, figure out what's wrong, use shorter cycles for charging or try to do something different. That's really, really hard on a battery. Blame the battery when it's okay. Take the battery back, this battery's broken, I can't figure out what's wrong with it. A lot of times they're discharged and you need to charge them back up. And so maybe it's something else, the battery terminals were dirty. The number one reason why people take a battery back that's good and it tests good is simply because the terminals were dirty. That was the only thing wrong with them. Clean the terminals and it worked. But they blamed it on the battery instead of just cleaning the terminals. When they're discharged, if you change the battery, it's cold and it freezes. If you have a key off drain, if for some reason you have a little trickle charge in your system and it's draining your battery, if you take the battery post, the cable, and hold it right up next to the post, if you have a key off drain, you'll see a little arc. You'll see it. Or you can take a test light, put a test light in between the battery post and the battery terminal, and if the light comes on, then you have a key off drain. So it's a troubleshooting thing. If I need to carry a battery around, you have two choices. You can pick it up and try to carry it or put it against your clothes, and the acid is going to heat your clothes up. Or you can use a battery holder or carrier. And there's different carriers. There's carriers that look like this, and they're a strap, and they have a plate with a hole in them, and they're designed just to slip over top of the post. And then when you pick this thing up, they just kind of cock, and you carry the battery around by the posts. And if you just listen to the other part of what we talked about here, carrying a battery by its posts, kind of a stupid thing to do. And so I wouldn't buy one of those. This particular one is actually for golf cart batteries, and it actually has a place to hook on. So that's what this one. But it looks just like this. It's a strap with a plate with a hole in it that just slips over the battery terminal, and you carry it by the post. The other type of holder that's out there that I'm going to recommend is going to be one of these. And so it's designed, now when you lift it up, it actually clamps and holds on to it, and you can carry it. So it's a lot easier to carry a battery or lift it out of a hole with this type of carrier than it is trying to use your fingers, because a lot of times you got to reach into a hole and pick it up, so you got to try to squeeze it. So if you're going to use a carrier, buy one that looks like this. And this one's adjustable.
What's that called?
It's a battery carrier. So you can do a real small battery like a golf cart battery, or I can use a big battery. So this thing's adjustable for a lot of different styles.
What's that little battery go to?
A golf cart, not a golf cart, but a motorcycle. I did say golf cart.